Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Take a minute or two till other people join in. We're very excited to host this show today with Atul Mehta. A little bit about him in a minute. And while you're joining in, perhaps you can tell us where you're joining us from today. We are based in Delhi, and it's been a long ride for Atul, who's come all the way from Gurgaon. Okay. The topic today is really, we are going to talk about the importance of a management education. Even today, in today's day and time, is it really helpful? Does it make a difference? Please feel free to put in lots and lots of questions in the Q&A box. We're going to take all the questions that come our way. But do put them in the Q&A box and not the chat. It's much easier for us to look at it there and answer the questions. Okay, we have someone who's joined us from Ahmedabad. Welcome. All right, I think, why don't I start by introducing Atul. Atul Mehta has over 17 years of experience, and he has been working with fintech, startup, sales, and more. Atul holds an MBA from the IIM Ahmedabad, and Atul also works with Razorpay currently, and he's the Vice President Sales, Senior Vice President Sales. Atul, would you like to tell us a little about yourself before we begin?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me here, and I'd love, it's a real honor and a privilege to be talking to so many brilliant young minds. Okay, and when I say young minds, I am by no means old. So about myself, well, a typical classic middle class small town profile, engineer plus MBA, as boring as it can get. But since then, life has been nothing short of a dream run. Did my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, as Seema told you, 05 to 07. Then spent the first 8 years in consulting. So gave me a lot of breadth, worked with FMCG manufacturing, telecom, oil and gas sectors, you name it. And I've worked with almost every domain possible that you can think of. Worked across geographies also, went to the Middle East, spent a couple of years there, back in India, across India, basically. Then fintech journey started. It's been 8 years into fintech now. So I've actually seen the Indian fintech grow from being, just when we loaded the wallet and used the wallet or used to pay our bills, from today, everything and anything and everything with money movement that we are doing. So that's what my journey has been. So
Atul, let's straight away get into the topic. So much is changing around us today. The world looks different. There are so many new technological advances that are happening every day. There's so much that's changing. How does a 2-year-old traditional MBA sort of hold you instead? Does it hold you instead?
Yes. The answer is yes. And immense learning in those 2 years. And I still think that was something which gave me an impetus. It's not a shortcut by any means. It's a very, very hard journey. Getting into a good B school and then graduating from there, both are equally tough. But what you get out of it is worth more than its weight in gold, believe me. But when you say 2 year, I have a slight disconnect maybe here. 05, when I entered IIM Ahmedabad, today 23, 18 years, a lot has changed. But sadly, I don't think our education system is changing that fast. Okay. At that time, maybe if I had an option to do a shorter course or alongside my work course and spend some time in campus, some time outside, I would have gone for it. not taking away anything from the learnings I had in the campus, the networking with the faculty, with my peer group, with the industry. It's great, but I think that this hybrid model, a lot of institutes are adopting it these days, and Harappa is one of them. Many of the institutes are experimenting with this, and I think this is a very welcome change, because one thing, it allows you to work alongside, so the opportunity cost somehow is lesser. Okay, so you are earning along and learning, and also you're implementing those learnings runtime.
All right.
And also this trend of the industry coming in more and teaching, and I've been now teaching in some shape and form for the last 16 years. Okay, I think this is also a welcome change. We didn't have that much industry interaction, even being in the best B school in Asia Pacific that I was in. We could have called anybody, but when somebody came, it was more a celebrity coming in. It was not a teacher coming in. Okay, so I think the concept that's changing these days is a lot of industry coming in and teaching, a lot of hybrid forms of MBA, and I am fully for it. And I think that I mean, had it been today, I would have gone for such a course.
You would have thought differently. So Atul, I wanted to ask you, you said practitioners coming and teaching, what's the difference? What you teach as a practitioner, and you've been taught by academics. What's the difference in how the two play out?
First of all, full respect for the academia. I've been taught by really God level teachers, and I owe a lot of learning to them. But I think that, and surprisingly, it's on the B schools where the teachers teach. In a medical college, the doctor teaches the surgery. Okay. Then why can't practitioner teach in a B school? So that's the thought I always think about, and I feel that hearing it from the horse's mouth is more relevant. And these days, as I increasingly go to B schools, they welcome you, and it's a co-creation sort of a thing, where the faculty or the academia can come with their own frameworks and models and course structure, and the practitioners can go and teach what the real world is. And another thing that I really like about teaching these days, as I told you, teaching for 16 years now, so I see a lot of flexibility happening because of the use of technology. You can sit anywhere and talk. I mean, I just came here to see your studio, else I would have loved to have this, from my home, which is 1.5 hours drive back home. So that flexibility is helping us a lot. And also these flexi timings of teaching. For example, if you want me to take class at 11 a.m., I'll say a direct no, because I have a lot of things lined up at that time. But since you said 7:30, it's good for me. So this flexibility and that's what I'm saying. A lot of things are changing. The way education is changing, I like it a lot.
Okay, so back to the practitioner, this thing. So as a practitioner teacher over the last 16 years that you've been teaching, what are the one or two things that you've heard from your students which make you believe that, when a practitioner comes to class, they bring that little something extra, something different, which perhaps a pure academic is not always able to bring to the table?
A lot of things which you practice in daily life. For example, I am a big fan of acronyms, and there are a lot of acronyms that I have made. For example, I say that when I am looking for a job, I look for 4 Ps. Now, Kotler has 4 Ps, but that was Kotler's 4 Ps. Everybody knows them. My 4 Ps are people, place, profile, package. So if I'm offered a job today, first I look for people I'm working with and the place where I'm working at, profile and package. And these 4 Ps can change as per my career also. When I started, those P's had different values. Now they're different. And this is one framework. Another thing which I always say is that, you should have CCD in life, not the cafe coffee day: clarity, consistency, and discipline. Because these are 3 things which you should always look for. A company is all about a PPT, people, process, technology. And so I keep building a lot of these frameworks. I mean, there's a lot of them basically. And these are things which I use in my daily life also. So I feel that, and I'm using them at my workplace, and I'm implementing them. Credibility is a lot more. And I am not saying the academia is not credible, but what happens with the professors is they go by Maslow's hierarchy. यार Maslow कौन था मुझे पता, मैं मिला कभी नहीं Maslow से. So I don't know what his hierarchy was and how he defined those levels.
Okay.
But I can tell you my levels of hierarchy, and that's what my 4 Ps are. So that's what I liked.
Okay. Another question that I wanted to ask you for a while is, you've done your MBA, what, about 12, no, about 16, 17 years back.
17.
Okay. So in today's day and age, we constantly hear about people talking about upskilling or doing.
Yeah.
So would you think that something that you learned 16 years back continues to remain relevant, or do we all have to adopt a growth mindset where we continuously need to learn or upskill in some way?
Yes. Very good question. You have to continuously learn, unlearn, upskill yourself. And honestly, when I teach, I also attend a lot of classes as a student. I mean, there have been MDPs at IIM Ahmedabad where I've gone as a teacher and a student both.
Okay.
Some classes I attend sitting here, some classes I attend.
What about hybrid or online courses? Do you do that?
Yeah. A lot of them. I keep doing certification courses, and also I hear to a lot of podcasts where for example, while coming here only, I was listening to the Ken podcast, so I hear them a lot, and that also helps you understand the perspectives of different people.
Okay.
For example, there's this podcast called The First Principle where they talk to the founders. When they spoke to Harshil is the founder of Razorpay. Okay. I interact with him on a daily basis. But I got to know new facets about when he was talking on the camera.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of new things that you will learn. So that's also a way of keeping yourself upskilled.
Okay.
So I think that, and when I teach, I also try to learn a lot of things from the students who are interacting with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the current sort of trends when it comes to management education? What is it that, why when companies are looking for candidates, what is it that they're looking for, especially if those people come from a management education background? It must be different from when you were a fresh graduate to what you look at now.
So I'll tell you my hacks of whenever I'm recruiting and whenever I'm interviewing. So my secret answer, and I'll give it on camera, you can use that when if you're being interviewed by me, is being very clear in the why of what you are doing. So if you don't know the why of it, then there's no point knowing the how or what of it. So I look for a lot for clarity in thought. I also look a lot for have you bounced back in life?
Okay.
Because I read the quote, hard times don't create heroes. It's during the hard times that the heroes within us is revealed.
Okay. Interesting.
So if you've been through hardships, if you bounced back, that also shows that you have a purpose and you are attached to that purpose. And another thing, especially when I'm recruiting at leadership level, what I see is how much have you made your teams grow? Because a leader is not someone who grows himself or herself. A leader is someone who makes his or her team grow. I mean, it's like if I'm hiring, if I have good people in my team, can I extract more value than the linear addition of their values, the contribution that they're giving? So I do look a lot for these traits. I also look a lot for the people part of trait. For example, this acronym that I invest in PPF, not the Public Provident Fund. I invest in put people first.
Put people first.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, people is the highest risk and highest return asset that you can invest in.
Okay. Here is a question. If as a recruiter, you have someone who has, say, an MBA from a traditional school and someone who has an online MBA or an online management program, what are the 2 or 3 things that you would consider or assess them on before you make your decision?
I will not even refer to where they did their MBA from. I will just try to seek the knowledge and again the why of their MBA.
Okay. And
why do I want to hire that person, and why is that person a right or not a right fit for my thing? So pedigree is good. It takes a lot of efforts to reach enter an IIM or an IIT for that matter, but that's not the only thing.
Okay.
And it's For me, it's neither necessary nor sufficient for you to have a Ivy League degree. It's good. It's good to have. It's definitely helpful. I mean, if you've had a management course, maybe online or hybrid or whatever you've had, it's helpful, but it's neither necessary nor sufficient.
Okay. I have a question here. It's come from Aman, and I'll partly answer that, but you can also look at it. Aman says he has 18 years of experience. Would an accelerated management program help me? I'm not sure which domain you come from, Aman, but I think we were discussing this, Atul, about how, if you, at some point in your career, you constantly need to upskill or you need to sort of learn new things. Would you think that this kind of question falls in that domain?
Yeah. So 18 years, as I said, it's exactly my experience, by the way.
Okay.
So I don't think that any experience qualifies you for doing or not doing an MBA. Okay. It's about what you want to learn, how much you want to upskill. And in this rapidly changing world, you can't have okay. You have an option, either be a linear thing and continue doing that, and you'll get through life, no problems in that.
Okay.
Or you want to be a multifaceted individual where you want to learn and upskill and add certifications or add degrees or add more of credentials to your CV.
And learn something new, which
that's what I'm saying,
could help you to get a new idea of what else you want to do.
So you can continue doing a linear job, no problems in that, and no harm in doing that, but that will only make you reach to a certain level.
Okay.
If you want to really have exponential growth, then you need to do multifaceted things.
And perhaps, one of the clearest things is to answer the question why. Once you have that answer, why would you like to do look at a program at this point in time? Then, there's much more information available to say whether this is suitable for you or not. And it's not just about the AMP. It could be any education that you want to do at this point in time. As Atul was saying, perhaps if you have the answer why is it that you feel the need to look at a program like this, perhaps it would be much easier and better for you also to see what would work and what would not work. Okay. One of the things that I wanted to also talk about is, when people look at an MBA or they look at a management program, they often feel like if they do this, then they are going to probably get a higher salary package. While it's mostly true, do you believe that an MBA is not only the only means to a higher salary package, and perhaps MBA does many other things for you, which you probably wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have a management program?
Yeah, it's actually slightly sad that why is successful MBA or package a direct factor of successful MBA. For me, it's not. It's not a placement agency. It's a learning agency. You learn, and if you are able to deliver value, you will get the package. So money is a side effect of what you do. So, for example, look at a car. What does a car do? Every car has 4 wheels and a steering. Okay, and a car drives. You can drive in your car from, say, Gurgaon to here, right? Maruti 5 lakhs, Mercedes 50 lakhs, Rolls Royce 5 CR. Why? Car is a car.
Correct.
Why should I pay 5 CR for something in which 5 lakh mein kaam chal jayega? I pay 100x for that and still I don't mind because of the value that car is generating for me. It may be luxury, it may be comfort, it may be snob value also, by the way. Okay. So that's exactly how you should look at yourself also. So and that's where my previous thing of linear skills versus multifaceted. So if you have learned, if you've attended courses, if you or you've self-studied, it's neither necessary nor sufficient to do an MBA, folks, but it's helpful. Yes, it is. And also for high package, again, MBA is neither necessary nor sufficient, but it is helpful. And package is a factor of the value that you are adding. And since you're learning more, since you are upskilling yourself, you are able to add more value. So the whole thing comes again to, why should I pay this person 10 rupees or 100 rupees or 1,000 rupees?
We have a question from Gaurav, who's joined us via LinkedIn. I'm not really sure what exactly he's asking, but he says, "Can a management person learn coding in one year? And is it possible to launch a website?" I think launching a website doesn't really require coding.
Yeah,
but
launching a website doesn't need coding.
Yeah.
Launching a website needs good content and good idea.
Yeah.
Can a management person learn coding? Of course, yes. Vice versa, of course, yes. You can learn anything that you want to, but again, that why has to be clear. I'll keep coming back to that boring thing of why, because that's a very important concept that I think is there in my life. Management person learning coding and launching a website, three different things. Management, and everybody is a manager, by the way. Okay, a coding person is also a manager, because ultimately they're either managing people, or even if you are an individual contributor, you're managing yourself. So manager is not something which only MBAs do. Everybody is a manager. So that answers the question.
So also adds to say, we are not taught to be entrepreneurs in a job. So I think he's also trying to understand if perhaps
nobody can teach you to be an entrepreneur other than yourself. Entrepreneurship is a skill, and it's, I think, an overhyped skill. I don't. Again, all of us are entrepreneurs in some shape and form. An entrepreneur doesn't need to be a startup founder, for that matter. Entrepreneur doesn't need to be a Tata or a Birla. Entrepreneur, it's good to be an entrepreneur and own the part of business that you are.
Okay.
Because if all of us have our own startup, all of us want to be founders, so kaam kaun karega? Right? So it's and understand this thing. 0.1% of $1 billion company is $1 million. Okay. So have 0.1% ownership in $1 billion company, and you are a millionaire. So it's good to own yourself, and it's good to own your area. And in fact, this is one thing that I normally say. There's a book by Jocko Willink, The Art of Extreme Ownership. So taking ownership to the extreme. And this is another concept that I say, that there was an ad by Hero Honda: fill it, shut it, forget it. Everyone should be a fill it, shut it, forget it person. Fill it means somebody asked you to do something. Shut it means you agreed, and forget it means the person can forget. That's what ownership is. So entrepreneurship doesn't really mean starting my own business. Entrepreneurship means I own myself.
Okay. I think one of the things that we always talk about in MBA or a management program is the fact that other than the education that you get, it also provides you a cohort or a group of people who can then be, partners in jobs, can provide you a network. How true is that? And how much?
Very true. Very true. I mean, alumni and your faculty are perhaps the two biggest assets that a B school will give you. Just to give you an example, last year we had a 15-year reunion in college. So on 22, when we did 15 years of my course completion, 40 odd of us came back for that reunion, and it was as if we restarted from where we left. So the bond and whatever you give each other, what you learn from each other is immense. And alumni, that network is something which will never fail you. And this I've seen. I've been a beneficiary also. But and then wherever I go, I was in Hong Kong last month. I met 6 of my colleagues there, and believe me, 3 of them took a leave from their office because they're on trading desk, so they can't leave during market timings. Yeah, sure. They took a leave ki Atul aa raha hai, milne chalenge. That's the bonding, folks. And I'm telling you a true incident, by the way.
So Atul, again, a question here, with online courses, perhaps is that an element missing, or is creating a group or a community also partly something that one can drive?
If you ask me the honest answer, I think a pure online course maza nahi aata hai.
Okay. Okay.
It should be a hybrid model. I don't know what you folks do, but if you don't do it, I would strongly recommend that you do that hybrid thing. Maybe some sort of an immersion, maybe a week, or I mean, if it's a 6-month thing, for example, you can do every 2 months a 1 week immersion. So that will help is people who are working, they can take a 1 week off and come. But it's a good idea. But it's good to be in person, because Nothing beats being in person. Okay. And you can learn things, but that camaraderie, I mean, at least I may be from another generation altogether, but I don't build camaraderies online.
So, I mean, like we organize mixers in different cities where we get people together to sort of come and meet. We have a convocation coming up where almost 30 people are coming for our first cohort, and some of them are even bringing family. So, those are some of the things that, but in the advantage of an online course is that you can be in different parts of the country.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You need not leave everything and come and stay in a campus.
Correct.
But if it's a 6-month thing, I would say at least 2 immersions, if not 3.
Absolutely. I also wanted to talk to you a little about, when you graduated from your or even today, day-to-day sort of life, are there any specific sort of theories or any specific sort of concepts that you find from management school, which probably engineering did not teach you, but now management sort of helped you to is it largely about how you handle people? Is it largely about leadership? Is it largely about business and thinking about how to sort of put a business together or how to bring it out? What would you say are 2 or 3 key things that engineering could not have taught you, but management actually helped?
Okay. So my engineering also taught me a lot of things, how to not study and pass in the last day. And overnight, how to be sleepless for 48 hours, engineering taught me. And it carried into management. A lot of concepts I learned during my engineering. On a serious note, I would say 2-3 concepts that I have taken away with me for life from IIM Ahmedabad. One is respect for time. For me, it's not 9 o'clock, it's 8:59 because 9 o'clock means 9 baj gaye. And that came from the time when we used to submit our assignments online, because at midnight, the server would stop accepting assignments. So 23:59 was the deadline. Okay. And that stayed imbibed in me. Respect for time. Second, respect for people and humility. So I am from Yamunanagar, Haryana. It's 200 kilometers from Delhi, small place. I'm the first one from Yamunanagar into IIM Ahmedabad. I don't know how many came after me, but before me, koi nahi tha. Ye mujhe pakka pata hai. So I was like, as if, I'm like God's gift to mankind. When I walked into the campus, 99.96% CAT percentage. Ye bahut acha bhai. I'm like, I have feathers and all that. When I started looking at the profile around me, it was like, man, I think I'm the most lower middle class amongst all of these. Okay. IIT JEE rank 1 holders and CAT toppers and people having double score than me and being much, much more brilliant than me, by the way. That taught me to be humble. And that taught me how to stay grounded and how to respect everyone. Irrespective of junior, senior, kuch nahi hota hai. There was someone in my batch who had 17 years of work experience when he joined IIM Ahmedabad.
Okay.
And the way he gelled with us and the way he cracked jokes, it never seemed like he had 17 years of experience. So junior, senior, kuch nahi hota hai. And it's respecting people, respecting time. These are the 2 biggest traits that I think management has taught me.
So, another sort of question that we have from someone, and they say that, management degrees, especially the traditional MBAs, are often very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Even if you want to do it, you may not be able to finance it. So what do you do in that case? And also, I think one of the other things that we don't talk about is how a top tier MBA also requires a very, very high percentile, or a very, very, your effort to get into that is also very high. Of course, it gives you those returns and all of that. But sometimes, we are not able to do those things. So then what is the alternate?
So what I'm saying is plan A always is to do an MBA from a full-time MBA from a top B school. That's the plan A. If you're not able to do that for any reason whatsoever, and again, not getting a CAT percentile doesn't undermine your intelligence, by the way. CAT it can be hacked. I mean, you just need to
Okay.
tune yourself for it. Okay. That's for some other day. Maybe I'll take a session on how to hack cat.
That's going to
Okay.
be like a sold out session.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Coming on to the point of this full-time in-campus, slightly expensive MBA. I never think they're expensive because you get loans and you can repay those loans. That's not a problem. But it's also the opportunity cost, also stage in life. Like, if today I were to do an MBA, I can't leave everything and say, कल से मैं पढ़ाई शुरू करूंगा. Okay, it's not possible. Okay, given the family, everything, you have your social ecosystem in place. You can't leave it. That's why I feel this hybrid learning models are a blessing. It depends the stage of life you're in. A fresher out of college, I would never recommend this MBA.
Sure.
A fresher out of college MBA करनी है, full time MBA करनी है, अच्छे campus में जाओ और करो. फीस का फर्क नहीं पड़ता because that anyways you can recover. But working professionals, full time MBA, शायद नहीं, maybe. People who do it, I mean, they have executive MBAs, ISB MBAs, and all those things. IIM Ahmedabad has it.
But again, it's
a lot of new age B schools also coming up.
Sure.
Masters Union and all those things. I mean, the multiple B schools who are doing that. So generating new concepts. Okay. Again, a lot of B schools starting practitioner-led teaching because, as I told you, Masters Union School of Business, Harappa also has it. So you folks do that, and then people are experimenting with those thoughts, and it's good, and it's helpful for the students to have those choices to make.
Okay. Supposing you are sort of a working professional and you're confused, you're been doing a certain kind of job for a while, and you're looking to sort of say either pivot or you want to do something different. Do you think a program like a 6-month program like we have, which is which has 3 or 4 very important sort of tracks that are in sought after sort of concepts or subjects these days?
Yeah.
Do you think this then becomes a precursor to deciding what you want to do in life and then preparing?
Yes. Because if I drive my car and I want to be a pilot, then I first need to learn how to fly an airplane. Okay. So I need to take break from my driving and start and attend a flying school. Okay. That's exactly what you folks also do. So if I'm deciding to, and it's not always for a pivot, it's just for learning something new here. For example, I have this habit of talking to multiple professionals who have nothing to do with my profession. For example, I recently went to Film City, Bombay, and I was like surprised that how complicated this movie business is and how do they make movies. There are times when I talk to one of my friends is a doctor. I talked about hospital administration.
Okay.
Looks very cool, but hospital is a very cumbersome job. Only today I was reading that narrow-bodied aircraft versus a wide-bodied aircraft, air crew cabin crew training is different. Okay. Man, I never thought they had different cabin crews for narrow-bodied and wide-bodied aircrafts. Okay, so the more you learn about these things, the more you read about these things, the more you think about this thing, you'll figure out, you'll understand how nuanced different things are.
Okay, I also just wanted to ask our viewers if you have any questions. Atul is here. He has been teaching for a while and has been in the management space for a while. Do ask. Atul, I also wanted to understand from you, when people sort of look at or decide between a hybrid, various hybrid models, is there any advice that you would have? Like, the why, of course, is a very important thing. But other than that, once you've got the why figured out, what should be your next step? What should be the 2 or 3 things you should think about?
Over-index on the faculty who are teaching you.
Okay.
So if for example, if I want to be a pilot, I need to learn from trained pilots. I don't want to learn from those who hacked pilots or something. So if you, for example, when I conduct programs in fintech, I think that I am qualified to do that because I've been into fintech for 8 years now and I've seen this thing happen.
Okay.
So I would say over-index on the faculty.
So basically, if you're looking at a hybrid program or you're looking at an online program, find out who the faculty is.
Yes.
It's not just enough to say it's a practitioner. Get into their background, see what is it that they've really done. And if they are really qualified to teach you the subject that they are going to teach you, because that can be a differentiator.
Yes. Okay. And also, not every practitioner can be a good teacher and vice versa. I mean, being a teacher is a totally different thing from being a practitioner.
Sure.
Because what I feel is that when you are a teacher, you have to think of what the student wants to learn from you, and keeping the audience engaged keeping a class engaged is a very cumbersome job. It's a very tough job. Okay, and you have to have that knack of engaging and delivering your content also. So when I say over-index on faculty, look at the credentials, look at maybe attend a demo class or something and see will you gel well with this person.
Okay.
And with so many options available, kahin aur se kar lo.
So definitely faculty is one. What else? Is it, you said, of course, you've talked about how which stage of life you're in is also an important sort of factor. Would you say, anything to do with how heavy the course load is? Is that an important thing for a working professional?
Because I can't do all the things at the same time. So as, for example, if today you were to ask me to give an exam or something, because I have my day job and that weighs heavily on me. So overload of course content and that mugging, that concept of what they say, I forget that thing, that people today, the education is more for one-way communication of imparting the thing. It's not for learning. So if your education, the code that you are in, should be for your learning
and application
of course, yes.
Rather than regurgitation, which is mujhe ye 4 subject padha diya,
exactly. So that's unfortunately what our traditional course, that the BTech course itna bekar course hai.
Okay. We have a question here from Vaibhav. Wants to know career pivot after a decade in brand consulting. Can you talk about what kind of transferable skills this person should sort of look for? Actually, it would be interesting to know where you want to go. But technically, if he's been in brand consulting space and wants to pivot, what could be his transferable skills? And does he need to learn any new skills?
Multiple. In fact, brand consulting is a niche sort of a thing where I'm assuming you've consulted brands or you've been into brand building or brand management, something like that. So you'll know how to build a brand of yourself. First, build that brand and see what it takes to build a brand. That content will come from a course, a management course, maybe Harappa or whatever. But that first you need to build a content and then create a brand around that. So create your own brand and then sell it, and you can sell it into anything. I mean, you can pivot to being a consultant per se,
okay,
a generalist consultant or a specialist consultant, or you can go into a specialized career. I mean, there are multiple specialized careers these days. For example, I don't know much about brand consulting for that matter, but if you look at sectors, there are core niche careers within sectors. For example, in fintech only, we have careers built around banking sector, careers built around alliances, career built around product management. So you can pick a niche for yourself, but do understand that why are you pivoting? I mean, there's no need to pivot, by the way. The pivoting is also a very fashionable thing. Pivot maar lete hain yaar, kyun yaar, chal raha hai, chalne do. It's not that you're driving and suddenly you decide, no, I have to take a U-turn. You don't do that. No, you continue being on the same road.
It's very interesting when you talk about pivots. It's a lot of people, I think, after doing the same thing about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years into their job, feel that the only thing that they will sort of benefit from is do something completely different.
No.
So is there a way that you can think about this? That is
No,
it?
I disagree with that. There is not always, there is, if, Tendulkar decided after 5 years that he has to play golf, we would not have got Tendulkar. He continued playing cricket. Okay? And you continue playing cricket and playing cricket and playing cricket. But within cricket, you develop different skills. You develop different types of shots. He started bowling also. Other players, start being all-rounders also. So it's like excel in your field. I mean, you might decide to change your sport also. That's not a problem. But pivoting is, again, neither necessary nor sufficient for you to be happy in life. It's more about what's giving you contentment. Learning new skills within your core area or core domain is also good. There's no harm in continuing in the same sector.
We have another question. Someone wants to know, is communication an important aspect of management education? It says that they struggle with communication and they feel if doing a management program will help them to communicate better.
Yeah, it's not important. It's the most important thing. It's a necessary thing. Because if you can't communicate, then there's no point thinking about it. If you just keep it to yourself. Actually, I've found some engineers and coders who are not very good communicators, but they communicate with the computer. So when they say communication skills kharab hai, I say, no, your communication skills are with the computer or with this program or with this language. I know English and you know C#. Okay. So communication is essential for life, by the way.
But can management programs teach you to become better communicators?
Yeah. In fact, and one basic trait of communication is the content that you have.
Okay.
And you develop this content also because of courses and because of learnings. As I told you, I attend a lot of classes myself. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of online courses. They give you that content, they give you that confidence. And once you have the content and confidence, you can communicate.
Okay. We have another question from Ankit. Wants to know which skills are most in demand in fintech companies today.
Skills as in, there are a lot of skills. As I told you, product management is in demand. Enterprise sales is in demand. B2C sales is in demand. Banking and alliances is in demand. Strategy is in demand. Sabhi skills hai yaar. Again, fintech is just like any other sector. It's a sunrise sector. It will continue to be a sunrise for at least the next 10 to 15 years. And I strongly believe that, not because I'm in fintech. The data points to prove that. Which skills are in demand? All the skills here. You just excel and pick which skill you are good at and end up playing. So
taking away from, adding on to that question, are there any, like you said, fintech is the next 10, 15 years, the important industry to look at. Are there any other industries like that where you feel like, management students should sort of focus or target?
Personally, I feel that channel sales is a very big sector across verticals. And I say that because in the last 2-3 years, I've seen a lot of channel sales specialists come up basically. Okay. That is one sector. I also see end-to-end servicing for any industry, every industry very, very important. In fintech, for example, Razorpay started off being an inward payment acceptance company. Now we do outward. We also do lending. We also do payroll. We also do vendor payments, everything. Because these days, every business or every person just wants everything under one stop shop. Okay. So amalgamation and aggregation is a very important skill per se, high level skill.
Okay. We wanted to know, how does management education really relate to the idea of leadership? Does a management program or course teach you leadership in itself, or does it help you to sort of go on the path of leadership in some way?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't teach you, but it is helpful again by previous answer, neither necessary not sufficient but helpful. Leaders, there's some people say leaders are born, some people say leaders are made. I say leaders are neither born nor made. Leaders are developed.
All right.
Okay, so and there are leaders who people are made to work for. There are leaders who people are paid to work for. Try being a leader who people want to work with. And if you are a true leader is someone who invests in the growth of his or her team. I answered that before also. And I think that leadership is, a leader is, for me, I give two analogies of what a leadership is like salt in the food. It can't be seen, but the food doesn't taste good without salt. I read this quote somewhere and I developed my own corollary to it. I say, fine, this is good. And also, salt can only be added to food. Salt can't be taken out of food. So for example, and this is what I tell my team also, if you involve me in something, then I will not get out till that thing is complete. And that's what a leader does. I also think a leader is like the shocker in a car. A leader is between the lower, the frontline people and the senior management. Road ka shock ऊपर नहीं जाना चाहिए, ऊपर का shock नीचे नहीं आना चाहिए. So that's what a shocker does in a car. That's what a leader also does. But don't confuse shocking with shielding. There's some leaders who confuse shocking with shielding, and they say whatever wrong my team does, I'll take the blame. I won't. I believe in letting people face the real world, and that's how you learn also.
Okay, we have a question from Sujata. If you're a tax head in an industry, what are the relevant management courses you can do, and what kind of growth path do you have for the future?
Tax head as in the taxes that we pay, right?
I'm presuming that's what she says. If you're a tax head.
So I actually feel that a tax head or a finance person, whatever it is, normally people classify them as support functions.
Okay. I
feel they should be enablers. And that's what management teaches you, to how to be an enabler instead of being a support function. So if you're enabling me to grow, enabling the business to grow, then you are a good support function. For example, a joke I have with my risk team is, yaar, you always tell me, ye nahi kar sakte, wo nahi kar sakte.
Kya kar sakte?
Kuch kar hi nahi sakte, to tumhari kya zarurat hai? If I can't take a risk, then why have a risk team? A risk team is required because I can take certain amount of risks, and they need to be an enabler. So that's what I feel. Management teaches you how to be an enabler and not be a support function.
Okay. So here we also have a question from, this is a more specific question on Razorpay. I think this is one of our AMP learners. This is Sushil. Wants to know how Razorpay is different from Paytm.
Oh, a lot. So, okay, understand this thing. I'll just go a bit into fintech. Paytm, okay, there are two divisions of Paytm, the Paytm wallet and the Paytm payment gateway. Paytm wallet is a container plus a pass-through. You can load money into Paytm, and you can also do a pass-through transaction while using Paytm. Paytm is more a B2C brand, where and they need both merchants and both customers, and that's how they work. And Paytm payment gateway is used for loading money into the Paytm wallet. How Razorpay is different? A lot. As I told you, Razorpay today does 9 different things. So we do everything that you can do with your money movement.
Okay.
You can accept money, you can disburse money, you can lend money, you can borrow money, you can do your payrolls, you can do your vendor payments, we issue corporate credit cards. We also now we've acquired EasyTap, and we can also help you card present transactions. So we do the end-to-end gamut of money movement. So in fact, that's what that's again a direct question. We are the ERP of fintech. So we'll solve every problem that you can do with money. We'll solve it for you. That's what we are.
Interestingly, since you come from a background of sales, and you mentioned that one of the growing careers in the future will be channel sales. And so what is the toughest part or in today's time, to sort of manage sales? Is it easier now that you have so much technology at your hand?
No.
Or is it?
It's easier. Tracking is easier. But I think 2 or 3 biggest things that a sales leader should always do is, one, how to keep the team motivated, how to measure the right KPIs. For example, I have a strong disagreement with people who measure the number of meetings that you do every day. It's a useless KPI to measure, because I actually don't want my team to do any meeting. Meeting is a effort intensive thing. पैसा भी लगता है, time भी लगता है, और effort भी लगती है. Without meetings, if you can convert, that's the best part. Of course, you cannot. You have to do meetings, but meeting is not the core thing that I want my team. I want my team to have pipeline movement. For example, at Razorpay Enterprise Sales, we have 6 stages in the pipeline, and it takes 3 months to convert a deal. So my thing is 15 days a stage should move average. So if you have a portfolio of 10 leads, you should have 10 stage movements in every 15 days. That's what I'll measure. I'll measure how healthy your pipeline is moving. And basis that I will insert. And you ask for difficult part of sales. Difficult part of sales is, yes, it's always been how to keep your ego at home and go and sell.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you can't take your ego along with you.
Which means you have to be ready to listen to a no. You've got to be ready to go back again and again.
Another thing is, most of us go and sell the what. We don't sell the why of it. Okay. For example, we never ever think why the person should buy it. They'll go and sell the what. I have this product, we done that, we done. That's okay, but why should that person buy it? Go with the proper homework of why that person will buy it, and you'll crack sales.
That's a very interesting one. That probably holds true for any and every product that
have. And exactly that. This is what a practitioner will teach you. For example, when I'm conducting my courses in sales, I try telling the importance of each stage in a sales pipeline, and why is it important for you to move from one stage to another. Why is it important for you to lose a deal early? If you think it's not, it's a close lost, khatam. And what we do at Razorpay, we also do a win-loss analysis. We analyze, after every quarter, we analyze all the lost deals, all the close won deals, who we won against, why did we win, and what do we need to do to continue winning? Who did we lose to, why did we lose, and what do we need to do to minimize our losses? So this is all strategy questions, and that's again where you need practitioners.
Where you need practitioners because they bring that knowledge.
Yeah, you can give real life incidences.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Any other questions? We are open for a few more. Here is one more question which says, is a management degree sufficient? I think we've talked about it, but since the question has come, is a management degree sufficient to propel your career through a couple of decades in today's day and time?
Couple of decades, I don't know. It depends on your speed and which degree you do, and with what I'll say what learnings you bring from that degree. But yeah, I've seen people at least progress by 5 years, 7 years. Couple of decades may be too much. इतना नहीं होता
आजकल नहीं,
कभी भी नहीं होता था. 5-7 साल हो जाएगा. But again, then you have to figure out which course or which MBA you're doing, and why will it propel your degree from 5 years to 5 years, 7 years? Why will it shorten that? And what do you mean by 5-7 years? Do you mean that salary that you would have got after 5 years, or the rank that you would have got?
Designation, whatever,
Again, I'll come back to learning. Rank, designation, and salary as a side effect of learning and the value that you're adding.
We have a question from Vaibhav, who's joined us from LinkedIn. He wants to know, how can a management program help someone who's working either in a purely creative field or a purely technical field?
Both. Purely creative field, again, you need a lot of, as I told you, the Film City, I learned how it's a proper management thing to make a film. The proper program management needs to be done, starting from budgeting of a film to final release of a film and figuring out, what will work, what will not work. That's creative field. Proper technical, there can be no proper technology. Technology needs to have end users. I can sit and keep developing programs, but unless so
it's important for someone with a technical background to understand the business case, where it's going, how it will go out.
Again, the part of why will someone buy my technology that I'm building.
Okay. And that's something that a management education helps you to prepare for.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think we're almost at time. Atul, anything else you'd like to sort of add about say, a program, a 6-month short program like the AMP, which we run, anything that, you feel like working professionals can take away from this and then sort of benefit from it?
Yeah. 2-3 things. I think I've covered almost all of them. One is, honestly, I've not gone through the
Yes, that's true.
curriculum of your program or the faculty that you bring in. If you're bringing in practitioner, if you're bringing in relevant course content and having at least 3 immersions.
All right, we will think about it. 2 we do, but sure, the
Let's
third
make it
one.
3. Yeah, let's make it.
Okay. We also have people from so many different cities that it becomes difficult to sort of have everyone. But yes, cohort 3, the one that we are talking about right now, 3 immersions.
Yeah, that's because I said 3.
Yes,
and
of
3
course.
is a lucky number, right? So also I said, I mean, the camaraderie, the alumni, the infra that you will provide here, the course contents you'll provide, the faculty you'll provide, I think all of these go into my selection of the program.
All right. Thank you everyone for joining us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and of course via Zoom. If you have any other questions from Atul, please feel free to reach out to us. We will sort of also help to get them answered, or otherwise Atul, of course, is available on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
LinkedIn is the worst place to reach me on. Reach out to them, they'll send it to me. I am very bad with LinkedIn messages, sorry. There are all the irrelevant messages here. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, no problem. Please reach out to us and we'll be happy to sort of send your question and find the answer and give it to you. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.